All right, guys, there's a lot of mystery around the St. Lawrence River tournament and how I caught my fish. I was throwing a jerkbait. If you watch the live coverage, there's 3 days of it. I was throwing a jerkbait that I couldn't talk about at the time. I kind of had to keep it concealed, but the secret's out now. It's called the World Minnow. It's by Shimano, and if you watch this bait, even when it's parked, like when you jerk it down and pause it, you can see that reflective mylar sheet inside the body of the lure. It's right in the center of the lure. It's suspended on a spring, and it gives perpetual flash even when the movement is stopped. The bait has a very aggressive, very deliberate, erratic action side to side. It's a very aggressive jerk bait. When I worked this bait in the tournament, I was really snapping the rod hard, trying to send the bait as far to the side as I could. I caught largemouth and smallmouth on it. Some very nice smallmouth critical fish ate this bait for me. Again, it's called the World Minnow, and I was using a cadence like continually moving the bait. I don't know that the flash boost feature was really that critical because I kept the bait moving quite a bit. There's also what's called the jet boost casting feature. There's a weight inside, a weight transfer system, but unlike other jerk baits, this one has a spring. When you go to cast the bait, the weight transfers to the back of the lure so you can cast it a super long ways, but once it touches down, the spring pushes the weight back to its proper position so it has the right attitude in the water. It's very critical, and it's very different from what's out there. Most jerk baits, the weight travels in a channel and it's very random. Sometimes it gets stuck in the tail, sometimes it's stuck in the nose. This one puts the weight right where it belongs, so you have the proper attitude in the water, proper function of the weight. It also has a feature called jet scale, and that just basically accentuates the scale pattern on some of the coloration, different pigments that the lure comes in. Again, this is the World Minnow. It travels to about 4 to 6 feet on standard 10 to 12 pound line, a little deeper if you go down. The hooks are sticky sharp. I don't have to change the hooks on this lure, which many, as you well know, super expensive jerkbaits, you have to change the hooks. You don't have to do that with this bait. I'm excited about it. There's a lot of colors. There's also a deep diver version called the World Diver. Has the same flash boost feature, and it's a 2-hook model, as you can see, compared to a 3-hook model. But that's what I was using. Yeah, I was using a X-Pride, Shimano X-Pride, medium action. It's a glass composite rod, and I was throwing it on I used 2 reels. I used a Chronarch, and I also used a Metanium. Slower ratio. I wasn't trying to take up a lot of line when I was working the bait. It was more about cadence and jerking the bait than it was taking up a lot of line. And the line I was using was, basically, it's like 10 pound on one lure and 8 pound on the other lure, fluorocarbon. Yeah, and where I was fishing, it was basically big flats off of the main river. There was a secondary channel that ran adjacent to the flat I was fishing. I had several sweet spots. It was about 250 yards long, and there was like 3 key areas where the fish would group up each day. And I'd go through a variety of lures. Like I said, the jerkbait was part of that. A Ned rig was also critical. One day I even caught them on a spinnerbait. You know, we had low skies, rainy conditions, a lot of wind, and so I picked up a spinnerbait and I caught 3 super quick, and then I caught some more later in the afternoon on it. It's just mixing up my presentation, different angles. Depending on the wind would dictate my boat positioning and how I would present the lure to the fish. The ideal scenario was when the wind was with the current. Then I could be downwind of my target, cast up current, and bring the bait with the current. Everything was working really good that way. When the wind blew against the current, it created some challenges, but I was able to still produce some fish.